Hey guys, it's Jessie, and this is the second homeschool video for March and April, and it's a brand new series I'm going to start. It's something I've been wanting to do since a while, and I got inspired by Candace from Homeschool on the Hill, and I'm going to link her channel in the description box below. Go check her out. It's a great channel. And what I'm going to do is every month I'm going to share with you what we're reading in our homeschool or what we read for our homeschool that month. We love reading books. We love buying books. It's our favorite way to learn in our homeschool, and so I always find myself searching on Pinterest, Instagram, or on blogs to find book lists and book recommendations, and our list just keeps on growing. So I thought, I'm sure there are more parents out there that are always looking for new books. So I thought it's a great thing, or it's a great way to share with you what we're reading, and maybe it inspires you, and you can also share with me in the comments down below what you're reading, so I find even more inspiration. So I'm going to start with our young one. He is 2.5, so we're reading, but I'm not sure I can always share all the books we're reading, because sometimes we read the same book over and over and over again, or we read 10 books in 10 minutes because we flip through it and then he just moves on to the next one. But he did have a favorite in the month of March, and that was Dinosaur Explorer. We got it from the library. I probably wouldn't buy it for our library at home, but he just loves to look at dinosaur, and it's a reader's level 2, so with his sister being a beginning reader, it was kind of good. She was able to read it to him, and he enjoyed it. And then the story for little ones, I talked about the story in my February homeschool favorites video, and I'm gonna link it above and in the description box below. You can go check it out and talk more about it there. Last week we read about Samson, a strong man, and the week before was God's helper, Jericho. So it's just a story a week, and like I said, if you want to know more about it, check out the homeschool favorite video from February. What I also want to say about our 2-year-old is that we didn't just read Dinosaur Explorer and the story for little ones. He listens a lot when I read to the older ones. He looks at the pictures, and he points out the things he knows, and when he points on things he doesn't know, I explain it to him. His attention span isn't as long as the ones of his siblings, which are 6 and 14, but here and there he sits with us and he listens, so you have to count that in as well. So for our 6-year-old, our first grader, of course, a story for kids. We read it every morning for breakfast, just a couple of pages, because the chapters are not too long, and I just want to kind of spread it out. And this week we're reading The Faith of a Foreign Woman. It's about Ruth and Naomi. So we read that every morning. And then for her, she's 6. So she's not reading any chapter books, so we're just reading thinner books and then more. So I'm honestly not sure if that's all the books we read last month, because I didn't keep a list for April. I'm going to keep a list so I'm able to show you everything we read. Like I said, she doesn't read, thick books that take her longer. So I think I'm actually missing a book, but that's okay. We read And Cities, and that is because her science fair project we did last month with our homeschool co-op was about ants. So we've read that before, but those books, you can just read them over and over again, and they pick up something new every time. So we read that with her, and then The Giving Tree, I read that book a few weeks ago for Poetry Tea Time, And I asked my 6-year-old what she thought of the book, and she said it was a sad book. I think it's sad, but still beautiful. There are not a lot of words, no colorful pictures. It's a wonderful book, beautifully written, and you can just read it over and over again and just talk about wonderful values. I highly recommend that book. And then we started talking about seeds. So we read The Dandelion Seed. It's one of her favorites. And what I like about that book is the illustrations are just beautiful. We really, really like it. Since we're talking about seeds, we also read A Seed is Sleepy. And again, this book has beautiful illustrations. We really like them as well. And I was reading that as a goodnight story a few weeks ago, and even our 9th grader listened and learned a lot as well. So this is a book I highly recommend as well if you want to read about seeds. And then the last 2 books I want to share with you for our 6-year-old, for our 1st grader, are Times of Wonder. And this is part of the teaching character through literature that I shared with you in my last video. And it's part of the curriculum. And we read that book over a few nights or days. It's a book that we're gonna pick up again and read again. But it was really nice. And then the other book we read was The Runaway Bunny. It's a cute story. I must say, I'm not sure if I would have liked it as much without having the connection to the teacher manual from Beautiful Feet Books. Because I read the story, I'm like, okay. I mean, it's a sweet ending. It's a sweet book, but just the meaning behind it that is taught in the curriculum from teaching character through literature just give it a whole different kind of view. So I think I would have not liked it as much without the teacher manual, without that curriculum. But with that, I think it's a really, really cute story. So that was it for our 1st grader. Moving on to our 9th grader. She as well is reading the story, her teen edition. And she actually listens to it online sometimes as well. So sometimes she reads, sometimes she listens to it. And I think I'm going to start with history first. She finished The World of Columbus and Sons, and she liked that book. It's part of her Beautiful Feet Books history curriculum. So she read Columbus and she really enjoyed it, and I like how she just kind of explores out, random facts about things she learned. And then she moved on to The World of Captain John Smith. She liked Columbus more than John Smith, but she still retained so much information. And we actually watched Pocahontas not too long ago for a family movie night. And she was like, and then she connected things and then told us things that, are not true in the movie, or that are, maybe taught wrong. I mean, it's a Disney movie, but I like how she knew the true facts about the real story. And those books, they do not have colored illustrations, but they do have, let's see, but they do have illustrations like here. And I think that's always great. It's even for, older kids, it's always good for them to be able to make a connection with something if they see a picture. So here is people who were living when John Smith was a writer. made. Who knew that he was a writer? I didn't. So, and here are the maps and stuff, and we absolutely like Beautiful Feet Books history. I cannot recommend it highly enough, and we're going to even start it with our second grader, even though we kind of have a history curriculum, but we just enjoyed so much, we're going to include it more. Moving on to our ninth grader, she as well is reading the story. She sometimes listens to it online. Sometimes she reads it, sometimes she listens to it, and maybe sometimes she even does both. So, but she's reading the same part of the Bible as we are. For history, she finished The World of Columbus and Sons, and then she moved on to The World of Captain John Smith. She said she enjoyed Columbus more because it was a little bit more interesting, but then again, I still like how she can blurt out random facts, and actually we were watching Pocahontas as a family movie night a few weeks ago, and it was kind of perfect how it connected with the book, and then she was able to tell us things that were true and not true, and added parts, and told us more about John Smith, and that he doesn't end up with Pocahontas, which you find out in Pocahontas too if you watch the second Disney movie, but I liked it that she was able to tell us all those things by just reading her history books. Those books do not have colorful illustrations, but they do have a bunch of illustrations, which I think is wonderful for even for older kids to just kind of give them a connection with things. So like people who were living when Columbus made his final voyage. And then in here. So we really like Beautiful Feet Books. If you watched my last video, I told you that she's not doing any science right now. We're just focusing on history, so we got that done. So at the end of March, she moved on to reading Poor Richard, and she is like over halfway through. So she will finish that this week or next week, and then move on to the next book. So those are the books she read for history, and for just literature and language arts, she read Great Expectations. That took her a while. She wanted to read it. She's the one who wanted to read it. Kind of in the middle, she didn't like her decision that much anymore, but I made her finish it. And I think she did like it at the end. She liked the story. And right now she is working with a guide that, they talk about vocabulary and Christian connections. And I'm going to link that in the description box below so you can see what we're using. And the other book I bought her that she started in the month of March after finishing Great Expectations is a book that got recommended by Beautiful Feet Books. It's a great connection between Captain John Smith and Poor Richard. And the book I bought her is The Scarlet Letter. I think she doesn't like it as much as she liked Great Expectations. But I think through those old classics, you just need to read. You just need to keep on reading, and in the end, you're able to make connections, and we can talk about it. And but that is what she's reading right now. And then for me, I love reading and I love books, and I wish I would be able to read more than I do. But I'm glad when I get my Bible study done, and I'm glad when I get done reading all those books to the kids. So at night I'm sometimes just tired and don't want to read anymore. But the books I am reading, of course, the story with my notepad for sermons. I'm reading the story as well. And the Bible study I do in the morning is The Armor of God, and I'm going to do either a complete separate video about that, or definitely going to add it into one of my homeschool favorite videos, because that study is amazing. It's the best study I've done in my entire Christian life. I cannot recommend it highly enough. And it's wonderful, and I wish it would be double or triple the size, because I'm already kind of sad because we're getting towards the end, and it's just so great. So that is what I'm reading. Like, I'm glad when I get my Bible reading and my devotions done and my Bible studies done. So once I have that accomplished, I'm happy, and it's okay if I don't get any other readings done. Again, we read so much in our homeschool. It's fine with me if I do not have time to read Romans novels. You know, I read blogs and on Instagram and learn more about homeschool. Oh, see, I am reading a different book, and it's called Teaching from Rest, which is amazing. And I did not include it because I haven't read it in a few days, because honestly I have no idea where it is. I had it in my purse so I could, read it while, our 6-year-old is in gymnastics. And I actually have to find it, but that's one of the books I'm reading as well. So if I'm done with reading my Bible stories, Bible study, devotions, and homeschool books and blogs, I'm happy. So that was it. That was the first video of books we read in our homeschool for the month of March. I am super excited to get our list started for April, to show you what we read in April at the end of the month. Please share with me in the comments below what you read in the month of March. I would really like to hear what you read, what you enjoyed, and I hope we are able to inspire each other. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.